It's three guys who combined to play 15 seasons in the National Football League trenches. Well, two guys. And Mackey, who didn't do shit. This is the O-Line Committee.
Your dumb football questions are always welcome here. If you're new to the O-Line Committee, click that subscribe button and the like button on the O-Line Committee YouTube channel. And over on the audio side, if you give us a 5-star rating and a positive review on Apple and Spotify, you can help us keep growing this thing. 26,000 subs on YouTube we hit this week.
Boom, baby.
Big weeks.
Thank you, guys.
Big weeks.
Appreciate
Thanks,
you
Bears
all.
fans.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of, here's
go.
my first dumb football question to you guys, and then we'll get to a bunch from the audience too. By the way, Jeremiah Sirles, Alex Boone, 16 combined years in the NFL trenches. I am Phil Mackey. I played football in 8th grade. It was awesome. Right guard, by the way. Right guard on offense, and once in a while they'd put me in at edge rusher. Yeah.
You mean nose guard?
So here's
the fear of God in me coming off the edge there, Mac.
Couldn't imagine that.
Oh man,
Shaking in my boots.
Oh, God.
He's so small.
So I was like Rudy Rudiger from
Right.
Mackey.
Oh,
Put him in, coach. He's the heart. He's the heartbeat of the team.
Coach, I don't play if Rudy don't play.
Okay. Did the Bears make an epic mistake 3 years ago not hiring Jim Harbaugh to be their head coach? Ooh. They had a chance to bring him back.
I don't think he was
NFL
ready. He
team
wasn't
played
ready to come
for.
back yet.
Yeah,
Jim-
he was a finalist for the Vikings job.
I really don't think he was ready to leave Michigan yet. He had something he wanted to accomplish going back to his alma mater, right? Michigan man, return them to glory. I'm cheating my ass off, right? Like all those stuff came in. I don't think Jim Harbaugh would have the success that he's having with the Chargers right now 3 years ago without building Michigan up and learning along the way, taking them back, returning to what it'd like to be a championship caliber football team and coach a championship caliber football team before coming back to the NFL. I don't think he would have been the same Harbaugh 3 years ago. I just don't.
I am going to disagree.
Yeah, I know you would. Drink the Kool-Aid. Keep
just-
drinking your
listen.
keep that cult Kool-Aid going.
I will. I will never turn on the Colts ever. You can always trust your trusted ally. But it's not the fact that he won the national championship. That's who he is. Like he's always been this guy. And I think if you had the opportunity to get him, I mean, I understand the Vikings passed on him for KOC. That was a great hire, right? KOC is their guy. He's what they needed. I think if the Bears had a chance to get Jim 3 years ago and they didn't, then yeah, that would be a missed opportunity. Just because you think about what he's been able to do with all these quarterbacks, and back then they had Justin Fields, and he would have came in and been like, hey man, listen, he's so great at coming in and going, listen, see those doors? What they say outside those doors really doesn't fucking matter to me at all. Because I know what I'm looking at. I'm the one designing this. I'm the one making this great. And as long as I tell you you're doing great, you don't have to worry about a fucking thing. Like he's so great at making you believe that. And that's what these young quarterbacks need, especially Justin Fields. That's what he needed then. He needed someone to come in and be like, hey, buddy, listen, you're doing great. Let's use your strengths. Let's use your skill sets. Let's do everything that's great. But you know what else I want to do? I want to take care of you. Let's get some old linemen in front of you. Like he does things right, and you see it everywhere he goes. He always builds these programs up the same way from the fucking trenches. He's like, no. The game is won or lost right here. He'd come in every once in a while and say that to us. He'd sit down and be like, I love my big boys. I do. I love you because you take control of everything and you just kill people in the trenches. And let's just keep doing that, and you'll be my little buddies. And we'd be like, okay, I'll see you at lunch. See my spot. Like, it was just great, right? That's what he does everywhere. And that's why I'm like, yeah, anytime you had a chance to go in and get him and you didn't, you fucked up. And boy, you might not agree with the way he does things. And I think back then he was so fresh and new that when he was with us, that he kind of turned the league upside down because he was the first coach to really go back at the media other than Belichick, right? Like he was the first one to really make everybody feel stupid for asking a dumb question. But it wasn't because he wanted to do that. It was because he wanted to show us like, listen, what they say doesn't fucking matter, so I'm going to answer with stupid questions. They want to ask me stupid questions, I'm going to give them stupid answers back because I don't fucking care. What I care about is what we do in here. He is a culture builder. You bring him in, and you're going to be like, man, that guy's weird and goofy and silly. But all of a sudden, you're going to see 53 dudes like, go ahead and say it again. I'll knock your fucking teeth out. Like, it's just the way he grabs you, and you're like, I can be me and I can be cool. And you wondered, would that have saved Justin Fields? I don't know. Maybe.
That's the thing. They probably, well, they had the Panthers pick, I guess.
Yep.
So would Fields have been better, and
else
they
went in
would
that
have
draft?
stuck with Fields. So that would have
Quarterback
been,
wise?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who they had quarterback wise.
What in 23? You're talking about the
Yeah.
Caleb draft?
No, because you said 3 years ago, right?
Well, Fields would have been. Fields was already on the team.
Yeah, so I wonder what would he have done to help
So
Justin Fields at that
Fields would have been a better version of himself.
time? There's no question. Like
better,
everywhere he
good
goes,
enough to
people
where
are better
they would have kept him or not. But yeah, man, like they would have been better, a lot
agree.
better than they are with Matt Eberflus. Maybe the draft positioning and strategy is different because of what they do differently on the field in 22 and 23. But if you're a Bears fan and you're doing this again, so man, Mark Trestman whiff, John Fox whiff, Matt Nagy whiff, Eberflus whiff. By the way, Kevin O'Connell was available too. The Vikings hired Kevin O'Connell. The Bears are in a better spot if they hire Kevin O'Connell, let alone Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, they have.
And instead, Matt Eberflus is going to be
your guy.
shown the
Naga.
not going to
Not
work
gonna
here
work
anymore.
Work here anymore.
Yeah. Okay, here's my next question. Dumb football question for you guys. How confident are you after Friday night's debacle with the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight that Netflix can successfully operate and stream Christmas Day NFL games?
I don't think it'll have the viewership that the Tyson fight had. That had
They
to
said
be
60 million households. First
there's
of all,
no way.
nobody could even get it to stop buffering. So
But
there's
also households count as me on the road driving home from Fargo with up on my phone, right? That's part of the household. Right? That there's they've tried so hard to crack down on sharing Netflix passwords. They do, but there's always ways around it. Like households are really 3 screens in my opinion. Right? You have 3 or 4 screens because if Boonie's household, he's got it on his basement TV, he's got it upstairs, right? You have multiple things open. That's all counting as streaming. I would bet there was closer to 100 million views, people watching it.
Probably.
I mean,
well, but no, but I
worldwide.
I was literally watching Antonio Brown's Twitter, 6.6 million people, including me, Antonio Brown inside the stadium, just live streaming the big board at Jerry World. For those of us that couldn't get it to load,
I watched it the whole way. I watched it as I was driving. I had it up on the phone, listening to it the whole time. It was sad. First of all,
sad.
I felt after the second round because he kind of came out swinging in the first couple of rounds.
he did.
And then after round 3, I was like, oh, just don't die in the ring, man. Like he looked so
When he was biting
old.
his glove,
He just looked so old.
I was getting
oh,
upset.
Man.
Why was he biting his glove? There's a conspiracy.
He's got a
theory
biting
He's
fixation.
like, I got a biting fixation.
It was the best line
Well,
I've
the
ever.
best was the 2 announcers kept fighting, and the one's like, he's having a mouthguard problem. The guy's like, he's not. I've actually covered him for many years, and he likes to bite on his glove. And the guy, and it was, who was it?
Roy Jones Jr.?
Roy Jones Jr. is like, no, I think it's the mouthguard. He's like, I don't want to be rude or disrespectful to a former boxer, but he's not.
Shut up.
Mauro
dealing-
Ranallo was the play-by-play.
He's
guy,
like, he's not dealing with the mouthguard issue. And then afterwards, they're like, Mike, what's up with the boxing? I'll be like, I have a biting fixation. I was like,
Oh, we're just learning about Evander
do
Holyfield's
tell.
like, would have been nice to know.
Here, hey,
Holyfield's
listen,
going-
since we've gone completely loco, when they pulled up Holyfield and Lennox Lewis, okay, here we go. Ready? I'm dying, number one, with the glasses and the fact that Holyfield's just looking around like completely out of it. And then you got Lennox Lewis, who, by the way, where'd your fucking braids go? I missed seeing those because I watched the original Lennox Lewis Mike Tyson fight. I was hammered at like 12 years old. Like, this is amazing. Not even kidding you. So they start talking to Lennox Lewis like, do you trust that Mike can keep calm? And all of a sudden he's like, he didn't really have an answer. And they're like, ask him, ask Evander. And they're like, he's kind of like, hey, you think he's going to bite his ear off? And they're like, that's not what I asked you. He's like, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. You think he's going to bite his ear off? Evander's like, man, I don't know. Like, you could just tell the whole production was like just kind of fucking messed up all the way around. But it was amazing entertainment. I had a blast watching it. I felt bad for Mike at, like you said, round 3 when he was biting down a lot and kind of flinching for no reason. I was like, this is going to get ugly. But at the same time, do I think they'll be able to pull it off by Christmas? I fucking hope so, because if that shit buffers on Christmas, I'm going to throw my tree
We got
out the
Steelers
fucking
Chiefs,
window.
damn it.
Yeah.
We got to figure this out. Amazon
it's
figured it
gonna
out.
be-
Peacock can stream. Come on, Netflix.
Let's fucking go.
Yeah. Also, the state of boxing is fascinating, and that pretty much, I couldn't name you 3 heavyweight boxers that are active right now. But if it's like a YouTube celebrity that learned how to box versus someone else that I've heard of,
58-year-old Mike Tyson. Yeah, I'll watch that.
Hey, the 2 fights before Tyson
the chicks,
were insane.
The chicks were nuts.
Even the fight before that.
Yes.
Dude, the whole thing was amazing. I was like, wow, these are some real, I should get back into boxing. Because I remember back in college, we'd watch boxing all the time. That's when like all those guys were going at it. And it was like, man, this is great. And then it just kind of died down because I feel like the UFC jumped up. But now
UFC jumped up, and then the CTE, the concussion stuff, watching Ali get the shakes.
Yeah.
I think it's
We all
scared.
feel kinda bad.
I think it's scared a lot of parents of like, I'm not putting my kid in that. Like, I don't want him to end up, if that's the path of being a great, like that's what you end up with. But I mean, there's risks to everything, but I just think the emergence of the UFC being hip and cool and celebrities and Dana White being a badass and all the fun stuff there, Joe Rogan gets involved. Boxing just kind of fell behind because it just didn't have the star power to keep it forward like the UFC did.
Would you guys, so then it seems like what Jake Paul is pushing for on Twitter. So it came out that he challenged Conor McGregor to a boxing match, or McGregor's camp said, McGregor will fight you in a boxing match at 170, which is McGregor's comfortable weight.
Right.
Well, Jake Paul was like 225 for this heavyweight fight against Mike Tyson. And Jake Paul said, well, I'm not going to drop 55 pounds to box McGregor, but I will do a no weight limit MMA fight if you want to get. So would you watch Jake Paul in an MMA fight, but maybe 50 pounds heavier than Conor McGregor?
Yes.
Me too.
Yes. I would watch it.
I would love to see him.
But I wouldn't watch a heavyweight actual fight.
No, I would watch that.
No, I would definitely
The whole
watch that.
point is everyone's just rooting for the YouTuber to get their teeth kicked in.
Yes.
Yeah,
Like,
and he just keeps making $50 million
every single time he stages the fights, he fixes them of like, oh, I'm not going to fight like a good guy. I'm just going to fight a guy that has been, or I'm going to fight a former NFL player. I'm going to do something that's not going to get me killed, but I'm going to make everyone root against me, and then I'm just going to get a giant payday at the end of it.
And
like, what was Logan Paul spraying all over him? Like, that had to be some type of branded. Like, he just kept like he's like holding it at the end. I was like, am I watching a fucking infomercial? It was unbelievable.
Dude, and how about and I don't know if this is true. This might be total speculation, but I heard a rumor that he said that he could knock out Tyson in his prime, and that's when I was like, shut the fuck up, dude.
That's
you can say whatever you
can't
want,
even say
but
that.
like,
you can no
one
not
no
a
one
human
will
in this
you.
world that could be like in his prime, I'd fuck him up.
Peter
like,
McNeely
there's 5
thought that
guys.
too, and
5 guys that could say that because I think he only got beat by 5 guys. But after that, it's like,
dude,
I don't know.
Mike in his prime knocks Jake Paul out in the first 5 seconds of that fight.
100%.
Like, it's not even a competition.
Now there's
how much would you pay to see that?
I mean, I'm
I'd
sure
pay a hefty
AI
price.
will figure it out eventually. They'll be able to run a simulation, put us in the Matrix.
The other conspiracy from in terms of like biting the gloves, because if you saw some of the training videos, Tyson looked great and fast. And now, of course, it's you in a trainer.
That to be said, though, there was so many training videos going around that were from like 4 years ago too.
Okay.
Like they kept getting flip-flopped, and I saw something that broke down on Twitter that was showing like the videos that he looked crazy fast and explosive in were actually from 4 years ago.
Which
And the jump from 54 to 58 is big.
Yeah.
Like, that's a big jump. Like I've
But
seen my dad go from 60 to 65. Like when you get up there towards that age, those jumps are not like 30 to 33. Like that's not a huge jump. But anytime you're on the back end of 50, those every year is a lot off the body.
But he did tag Jake Paul early a couple times, and then it looked. Again, this is just. I think he's just old,
Marketing.
and I think
He's just old.
But there was a conspiracy theory that he got $20 million, which is confirmed, but that it was only guaranteed if Jake Paul won the fight. And so people were saying Tyson was holding back and maybe biting his gloves to like hold himself back from.
Dude,
doing something to prevent himself from making $20 million.
He was
in
just
that fight.
old. He looked gassed. He looked old. He had a knee injury. Like,
Yeah.
it was not good.
He almost died in like
I
June
still
or
love
July.
him.
I love the guy,
love
but
him.
I think everyone was really excited when the fight started, and then after 3 rounds in, everyone was really nervous. Like I remember watching, like my heart was racing, and my son was like, I don't want to watch Mike Tyson hit the dirt. I don't want to see that. I don't, with my eyes, I don't want to see a YouTuber standing over the top of one of the greatest to ever do it. Like, I don't want to see that. And that's kind of where everyone was at the end. And so when he made it through 8, I was like, I'm just happy he's alive and he made it. Like, so no, sidebar, I don't think Netflix will have it put together. I hope they do, but I can't. Hopefully they learn from their mistakes, check the tape, right? Point the thumb, not the finger, and get it figured out because don't fuck with my football on Christmas.
They were pointing the finger, though, because everyone kept getting the message that said, you might want to check your internet.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, wait a second. My internet's great.
I kept looking at mine like, there's no way this is happening right now. This happens all the time during my podcast. What the fuck? I'm watching it on my phone. It's not pulling up on my TV. I'm like, what's going on right now?
Alex got a message that said, hey, asshole, you made millions playing football. Go buy a new computer.
I get that message once a month.
Yeah, from me.
Hey, I'm jumping on the Zoom. Hold on.
Oh, that's got to upgrade. Oh, great. I'll see you in 40 minutes.
Oh, man.
Yes, you will.
Okay, let's get to some listener questions here from the O-Line Committee YouTube comment section. I know that you guys would love to talk about kickers after what happened in Week 11. So let's start with Steven's Guitar Covers, which that might be a fun YouTube channel there. Dumb football question. Why do we have two separate players for the kicker and the punter position? Can't you just find a guy to do both? Or if you're the Bengals, maybe you can just just not have any.
So first of all, no, two very completely different skill sets. As weird as that is to say. Now, I've had guys in college that could do both, right? Brett Maher was actually he was an All Big Ten punter and an All Big Ten kicker, right? So those guys can do it. But when you get to the next level, your job is to do that one job and do it correctly. One, either punt or either kick it through those little yellow things at the end there. And so far, kickers, I hate them. I do. I just hate them, dude. I've always hated them, and I have good friends that are kickers, and if you're listening to this, I'm sorry. I can't stand you. I can't. And even there's nothing worse. And Booney, you'll back me up on this. You go on like a 10-play drive, 8.5 minutes. Grinder, converted some 3rd and longs, overcame a penalty, right? You grind it and you throw it in on 4th and goal from the 2 to take a 2-point lead, getting ready to kick the field goal, go up 3, and you miss the extra point. Nothing rips your soul out more on a sideline than watching the kicker come over and do, my bad.
My bad.
My bad.
My bad, guys.
Dude,
My bad.
I totally understand why Debo Samuel wanted to kill him. I totally get it. I mean, I totally understand it. And watching those games yesterday, watching Evan McPherson shit down his leg twice, not once, twice. And then the special teams coaches, they panned to him on the sideline. He's like, oh, I swept my leg the wrong way. Like, I don't give it. Put it through the uprights, dude. It's not that freaking hard. It's your job. It's your job. I understand, like, yes, no one can do it, but you are paid. And McPherson, you wear the C. Captain. C. That means you're held to a higher standard. They should have let you walk home.
Crap running down his leg.
Walk
That's what the C
home
stands
from
for.
L.A., sir. Because the coaches will do the whole thing where they get in the locker room and everyone's like, hey, it's not on Evan. It's on all of us. But no, it's not. He should have made the kick. We should have won the game. I don't want to hear anything else, right? It's going to be just like when we came in after we lost to the Seahawks. Right, we lose, and hey, that's on Blair Walsh. The fuck it isn't, right? Like it's not. That's not how this goes. That's not how this works. If you have a chance to have a game-winning field goal and you just whiff and you just push it wide, like I don't want to see like, oh, my bad. I'll get him next time. No, I can't stand it. Hopkins 0 for 3. See ya later. Justin Tucker. Somehow the Chiefs broke your brain. Somehow the Chiefs, ever since your little debacle there with old Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes, you've never been the same. So I don't know what's happening there. Who else missed ones yesterday? I wrote it all down here. Jake Elliott, what's happening? Why can't you make field goals? Are you that mentally fragile that you can't just figure your lives out, get back out on the field, goldfish brain it, right? Go watch Ted Lasso. Go listen to him. Goldfish brain it, walk back out there, kick it through the yellow post, and shut up. I don't want to hear from you. I don't want to see you during the week. Go run on your treadmill, do your curls, go swing your golf clubs. I don't care. Make the field goals, leave everyone else alone.
I feel like that was actually a toned down version compared to the text that Jay was sending last night.
Dude, I knew this was coming. That's why I
went back and looked, right? So in 2023, through 11 weeks, 586 to 697 last year at 84%.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good. This year, through 11 weeks, 579 to 684. So 84.5%. So you're telling me that's the league average, right? You're right there at 84.5%?
Yeah.
And you
what
lose
was it
football
yesterday?
games?
Oh my god.
It was probably 84%.
No, it was worse. It was worse. So Last week in week 11, there was 11 missed field goals. Week 10, there was 12 missed field goals. Week 9, 10. Week 8, 6. Week 7, 7. Week 8, 11. So you're averaging between like 6 and 11 field goals missed. If that's your only job, do better.
I saw a lot. There were some Bengals fans that there was a video or like photos of Evan McPherson was dabbing up, Chargers players well after the game had ended. He was one of the last players on the field, just kind of yucking it up. And fans get really mad when they see you guys after a loss enjoying life or hugging, former teammates.
Can't do that. Can't have a life. Can't ever have a life. Go ahead.
Going out to eat.
I just hated that the Collinsworth is trying to give him excuses too. Like, oh, he's got a new snapper, a new holder. Snap, hold, kick. Find 3 people that can do it. It's not that hard. Snap, hold it, kick it through the uprights, dude. This is what they pay you money to do. This is why they voted you a captain. I don't know, dude. I can't stand
when
kickers.
You did the Everson.
It's what happened. I was there. I remember it happening. And if anyone who's ever played is going to sit there and say that when you're sitting there listening to your head coach at the end of a game going, we won that game. We drove down the field. We did what we had to do. All the job was for this little tiny man to kick it through those uprights, and he didn't do it. And I have to sit here and go, yeah, you're right. It's on all of us. Yeah, every single one of us had a point in that. No.
Oh, you know how I felt in those meetings. I was looking at that.
Everyone just sitting there going,
man, like, what are you doing here, bud? What are you doing? Get the fuck out.
We just grinded for 3 hours in minus 30 wind chill temperatures against a Super Bowl contender and gave you a 27-yard field goal to send us home.
It's my bad. The pat on the chest kills me.
And you know what the problem is? You've just been around shitty kickers. I've had Phil Dawson most of my career, and you want to talk about a motherfucker that just you couldn't get mad at the guy. He played 30 years. He'd miss a field goal, and you'd be like,
dude, I think you're right. I've been jaded with kickers.
You have.
Like in college, I had great kickers in college, and I think that's probably where like my standard. I had Alex Henry initially, who went drafted by Philly, played there for a long time. Then I had Brett Maher, who was great, played a long time in the league, and then my last year I had a kid that drag transferred in, Pat Smith, one of my best friends in this world, made field goals for all the live long day. I go to the Chargers. It's Nick Novak, right? And all year long, it's to ride the wave up and down. And we love Nick. We don't. I'm like, okay, this is weird. Shouldn't this guy that's getting paid millions of dollars make kicks? I don't know. This is interesting. Get to Minnesota, Blair Walsh, right? We know how that goes. They fire him. All right, Kai Forbath, right? Cobra Kai.
Loafers,
right?
Kai.
Bring Cobra Kai in. That's kind of a disaster and kind of a nightmare throughout the entire thing. So, okay, sounds good. I go to Carolina. We have Graham Gano. Great guy. Love him. He was good. He was quiet, never talked, did his thing. Then I get to the Bills. And this is probably where it all went off the rails. Steven Hauschka. Very, very strange human being. Right? I mean, like, had a 6 foot by 6 foot T-square, right? You know, that he would like lie out on the field to get measured. He had a very long warm up that he would have to go through and get there. And I remember we get to the end of practice and we get to field goal period, right? On a Wednesday. You're tired. It's been Wednesday. We've done 9-on-7. And we get to field goal period. And there was multiple times that he would come to coach and go, I just don't feel it right now. I don't think I can kick. And we just,
like in that moment,
like he didn't like through the warm up or whatever it was, he just didn't feel like, this was not the time that I need. I don't think I can do this right now. And so we'd be like, okay, field goal on air, and we go through, hey, move it over to left hash or whatever, the whole thing. And then you get there on Sunday and he'd miss, and he'd be like,
it's my bad.
My bad. That's my bad. I'm like, what the fuck were we doing on Wednesday, dude? Like, what if you feel like that on a Sunday? Like, it bothered me so freaking much. And it also bothered me that he had his little warm-up band station was over at the O-line bench. It's like, we'd come off the field, and he'd be over there laying on the ground with, like, an abductor band. Like, move. Get out of the way. Like, you're in the way. Go stand by the heater like the rest of the guys and leave us alone. Like, I don't know. Kickers aren't my jam.
By the way, can we go back to the Phil Dawson thing?
What have you been going through?
Booney, you grew up watching Phil Dawson.
Yeah.
And then, right, because you were a Browns fan as a kid.
Yep.
Huskers can't kick
Your
either.
whole life was Phil Dawson.
Yeah, so check this out. We're at the O-line dinner, and every year we'd have an O-line dinner at the House of Prime Rib, very legendary steakhouse, and the O-line had a massive dinner, and we were allowed to bring in one player every year, and we had a vote on an O-line. So we're like, let's bring in Phil. He's played 30 years. Love the guy. Let's do it. bring him in, and so you have to talk about this player in front of everybody's family. And so I was like, let me do it. And they're like, all right, young buck, do it. So I get up there and I go, here's a guy I've been watching since I was in kindergarten. And they were like, you motherfucker. And I was like, and he is the man. Dude, we loved Phil Dawson in Ohio. In Cleveland, I swear to God, he would tell me so many funny stories about dudes from the Browns. Like one time he told me that one of the quarterbacks was asking him, they were flying over Lake Erie. He said, we're flying over Lake Erie to go play Pittsburgh. Quarterback looks at me and goes, hey, what ocean is that? I looked at him and I go, is this the quarterback? And he looks at me and goes, sure is. I go, motherfucker, I knew it.
It's the great North Ocean.
He told me everything, and I love Phil to this day. And you know why I love Phil? Because Phil was one of those guys that he would come in and he understood his job. Like, and I'm not saying this because I was way younger than Phil and I have no room to ever disrespect somebody like him, but he was the one guy that was like, I'll stay out of your way. Like Jay said, Hauschka would be on the sidelines in our fucking way. Jay knows how to kick his fucking helmet and like, move, bitch, now. Don't ever get in my way on game day. I'll fucking run through you. But like, you would walk by Phil and he'd be like, my bad. Here's a guy 30 fucking years old, 30 years in the league, and he's like, I'll get out of your way. You want a water? Like, he was always very helpful. Dude, he'd make field goals. He'd come over and headbutt me. He knew I liked to get headbutted. He'd be like, yeah, dude. He'd be like, I don't think I should be doing this, but all right, cool. I'd be like, all right, this is like he was down for anything. Great guy. I had him in Frisco for a long time. I had David Akers, who was another one, a little bit all over, right? Like, come in, be like all about, God and all this stuff, and then all of a sudden you kick a field goal, but you fucking like that? And you'd be like, whoa. Like one time he came in, and we were listening to music in the locker room, and back then we were young, so I think it was honestly all Future, because we were the first team that knew Future. We used to fly him in all the time. And so we're listening to some Future and everyone's like getting in. He's like, guys, this music is not appropriate. And he like went upstairs and told the GM, and the GM came down and was like, is this guy fucking for real? We were like, get him out of here now. But like, he'd be all about that. And then they'd kick a field goal and he'd be like, yeah, motherfucker, it's fucking on now. And you'd be like, what? Okay, dude, high five you. No, don't touch me. But yeah, man, kickers, they drive us nuts. Unless you're Phil Dawson, then you like
I'll never forget the meeting. Booney, was it 16 or 17 that we finally let go? It was 16 we let go.
16. Oh.
So we had a team meeting. Blair Walsh missed. I think
what game was that?
I don't remember. He missed 2 field goals. We have our team meeting.
Was it Dallas? We
Maybe.
knew he was getting cut. We all knew it was
We
coming.
had our team meeting Monday morning or whatever it was the day after the game. And we're watching the lowlights because that was like we like to do. And we get there and we watch the 2 missed field goals. And Mike Zimmer stands in front of the team, the entire team. And this is back when our team meeting room was in the northeast corner of the indoor, right? Like we didn't have an actual team meeting room. It was just curtained off bleachers.
Is it like the old Winter Park?
Yes, this was at Winter Park. Like we did not have a team. We did not have a team meeting room. We had a corner that was draped off by steel bleachers.
And then you know what? They got rid of them every day for practice. It was
crazy.
they'd
pull them back. So Zimmer stands in front of the whole team and he's like, listen, men, Blair's our guy. I believe in Blair. We should believe in Blair. This guy's, he's done it before. We have a lot of faith in you, Blair. We're behind you 100%. You're our guy. And we're like, all right, Blair's our guy. He planted the flag. Blair's our guy. The next week, he misses, I think, 1 extra point and maybe a field goal. Come in Monday morning. Guess who's not there? Blair Walsh. Right? Just full turnaround in 7 days. I was like, I thought that was your guy. Like, I thought that was our guy. Nope. Also, like, this is Kai Forbath.
He's
Kai
our guy.
Forbath. You're our guy. We believe in you. We're behind you 100%. I was like, don't get comfortable, Kai. Watch it, Mr. Man. Watch it, Cobra. Dude. It's coming for you. They'll sweep the leg.
Man.
Hey, I think they honestly got rid of him because Prefer was going to kill him. Prefer was going to fucking kill him, dude.
Preef was going to kill a lot of people.
I love him. We got to get him on the show.
Preef was so good.
Preef's a little bit of a psycho, but yeah, we should
only on game day. Only on game day.
Every other day was great.
Yeah, I remember we got a field goal blocked one time against Detroit on Thanksgiving Day, and I thought it was me. Like I legitimately was like, dude, he came through my A gap. Like I think that was my guy. And so I like knock. The next morning I walk in. I'm like, hey, Mike, just wanted to talk about that field goal. He's like, not your fault. And I was like, oh, thank God. I was fully anticipating like, come in, have a seat, shut the door, like, and just do the watch thing. But nope, wasn't my fault. But
Get
like
on the
terrified.
scale. Get off the scale.
Honestly, one of the most terrified like thoughts of going. I was like, I'm just gonna face this head on. Maybe if I face it now, he won't demolish me in the team meeting room. Like, maybe it'll be okay. Nope, wasn't your fault. Wasn't your fault. It's like, thank you, Mike.
Those are the feelings that you miss, man. I'm telling you.
I don't miss that feeling at all.
Bullshit.
Laying in bed watching this fan spin at 2 a.m. Like, gosh, that team meeting tomorrow's gonna suck on play 39.
If you got to knock the door, like, you fucked up.
Is anybody?
You know me. Other than that, you're kicking that door. And what's up, baby? You watch film? I'm good. I'm good. That's a winning grade, dude. We used to sit there and just be like, "Is it over an 85? Did I get over an 85? Okay, I'm good. I'm good." Give me one more, Mackey.
Christopher Tucker says, I like this one. What's the difference between when you hear a quarterback at the line of scrimmage? What's the difference between can, kill, alert? Can, kill, alert.
So
what are the difference?
It's part of the check with me system. It's a system of plays that are called. So you have a called play, dot right, 96 power, kill, 2 jet, Dino vert, alert, 96G something. And it would go like this. The first play gets run versus an over front. If he cans it or kills it, which is the same thing.
And kill are the same.
They're the same thing. It used to be you'd show a gun or like they'd show like the killing. And then the league, and it's a true story, we used to do like a gun.
Yeah, kill.
Or like they'd go like this, they'd slash the throat. And the league came down on us and was like, we don't want you doing that anymore because it's a bad look for everybody. So now they went to more of like a can. They try to stay away from kill. But they'll go, first play will be versus an over front. Well, we want to run power versus an over. Say we get a cover 1 where all of a sudden they've dropped a safety into the box. We can't forecall it. We don't like that. You know what? We got numbers outside. Let's go pass it. So the second one would be for a pass. The third one would be, hey, an alert is if they come up in some weird scheme like we used to play Seattle, and then every once in a while they'd show up in a 57, we used to call it a bug, and it was the opposite of a 25, and that's why when you'd look at it, you'd be like, I don't understand this defense. So you'd get up there and you'd go, this just doesn't look right. Well, we had certain plays that would come in, and we always try to knife that defense right in half because you put like 8 guys on one side and you'd expose one guy. But the problem was Seattle's defense had fucking amazing D linemen and linebackers at all times. So like you just couldn't get away with shit. But that's why you can tell how the system is going. If you watch a drive, you can tell what kind of a system are they running. Are they running plays where it's just call and go? Is it call, check something else? Is it call and, hey, I can give you a signal out of this? Like you see a lot of Aaron Rodgers. If he doesn't like something, he'll start looking around and tip. Nick, do some of this. Or you see most guys, they'll be like, hey, kill. Instantly guys start talking. They'll start shifting motions. They kind of widen out a little bit. It's to be like, hey, they're in cover 1. Let's expose this. Let's run a deep route here. Whatever it is. It's a lot of what guys are doing offensively, and it's super fun.
Yeah, and it's definitely gotten watered down in the last decade. I mean, I remember when I came into the league and I was with Phillip Rivers, I couldn't believe that there was 3 plays or 3 different checks per play call. Right? I came from a college system that ran hurry up, and we'd look to the sideline and coach would go 2 lock. I was like, oh, inside zone to the right, right? Like that was pretty easy. And now they're like, hey, here's a long paragraph long play that you have to then know what front are they in, what's the coverage, is it 2 high, is it 1 high, and then if you get to this play only gets ran to the 3 technique, so if it's called backwards, we got to flip it so we can get it back to the other side. And I was just like, oh, this is much different. And because of where the college game has come from, you're seeing less of that with the younger quarterbacks especially because it's just so much to throw on their plate. The old guard, I mean, you'll still see it with all the old heads. They can just see everything.
Burrow's so good at it.
Burrow, like the guys that have been in the league
Jordan
5+ years, they see it all. But trying to put that much plate on a guy like Anthony Richardson, Bryce Young, CJ Stroud, it's just not worth it. And that's why sometimes those offenses really struggle because you can't get yourself out of a bad situation.
Right.
That's what the check with me system's built for. That's why you have the alerts and the kills and the opposites and the flips and all that stuff is to not bang our head against a wall of, hey, the angle's here, not good. Right? It's an outside zone play. The mic's really pushed over, so our double teams aren't going to get there. We're already out leveraged. Let's just get out of this and get to something else. That's what that whole system's built for. And the teams that can master that and have a quarterback that can do it, and then the communication up front from the center and everyone through, that's where things can really start to break down. Because if 9 out of the 11 guys get the kill, but they didn't get the alert, play's toast. right? There's so much communication that has to go on when you got that check with me system.
And honestly, in a check with me system, no play should be a fail because every play is technically designed
From a
to
schematic
win.
standpoint.
Right. Like when we call the check with me system, they should be like, this play should gain positive yards. And by that, I mean 3 yards or more because we're running a play that we like against this schematically somehow, whether it be we like it versus the front, we like it versus the coverage, we like it versus a blitz. Like at times we would alert like, hey, if they're showing a blitz off the edge to the left, let's run a zone to the right. Like, let's just run away from this because they're going to filter away as the zone's coming to them by the time they figure it out. Like, but Jay's right. It's a lot. And the problem becomes with the check with me system is if you have a defense that moves around, the check with me has kind of become unimportant because, like, we would go into games and teams knew we had the check with me. So the minute we would come up there and we'd be like, say we want them in an over, but they're in an under. He'd go, hey, kill, kill, kill. Well, all of a sudden they'd go to an over because we would shift out. And so they would shift therefore, and we'd be like, well, shit, now we're back to square one. Hey, roll it back. And we'd go back.
Reload.
And they'd go back and we'd be like, timeout. That's not a good play at all. We are not in a good play at all for this. Like, dude, at times too, it's funny because like with these check with me's and stuff, the motions and the shifts are the most important things. Because as you're watching him kill it, you'll see two guys leave the backfield, and you're like, oh, here we go. Now they're gonna spread them out because they know they're in 1 or they're in 0 or whatever it is. Like, they just have a good inkling. Now the only problem becomes like if the defense is called, say we think it's 1, but it's really it looks like 1, but it's really 2. That's when you start getting burned, and that's when you have to be like, all right, we have to make things more distinguished here. We can't be running with this check with me shit.
Well, that's also where really good linebackers make their money.
Correct.
That's where Luke Kuechly, Bobby Wagner, Fred Warner, right? When they come up and they see the quarterback going, hey, kill, or can, or whatever, they've watched film and they understand, hey, they're probably killing it to a pass, or based off the defense that we have called right now, they're probably killing it to a run. Right. And that's when they come up and they start bumping over and they're moving around and they have their check, right? Check palms or, check whatever it is, right? They're going through it. And that's where the chess game is so much fun to watch. And it's usually, hey, he who holds the pen last. So usually it's the away team or the home team, right? Because you can get up there and the really good quarterbacks, hey, kill, delta, set hut, right? And try and get them into it. But when you're on the road and you got to, hey, kill, I'm get set, and then you're raising the leg to get the snap count, that's where the defense can really get to some other checks. It's so fun to watch the game within the game against a really good quarterback and offensive coordinator and a really good D coordinator and a really good linebacker.
Yeah, and then take the clips from this show and put them on social media and have Jeremiah debate Kellen Mond for a half a day.
Oh, don't even.
Listen.
Hey, to be fair, to
that
Kellen
Bear stuff
Mond's
was great
point,
last week.
I thought the Bears did a great job this week. I thought they did a great job of saying, hey, listen, let's simplify things.
100%.
I think at times they took our advice and we were like, hey, spread people out. You'll see what you're looking at, because when you condense everything looks the same, and you're like, well, I don't know who the fuck.
And then allowed him to use his legs. He rushed for like 80 yards.
Dude, he was like the leading rusher, I think. And like that's where it's like, hey, when you spread them out, then he can use his natural talent more. Instead of, hey, let's do 2x2 set real tight and everyone's real crammed in here, and you're like, dude, this is not going to work well. But yeah, check with me is a lot of fun. You just got to be smart.
Great stuff, dudes. Great stuff here. Yeah, if you're new, maybe this is your first dumb football questions, keep them coming in the YouTube comment section, and click that subscribe button and the like button on the O-line committee.
And if you're
YouTube
a kicker,
channel.
I'm sorry.
We're not sorry.
There's
Make
some
the
love.
fucking field goal.
There's some love, but not much. Brett Maher's the only kicker I truly love.
Phil Dawson, love you forever.
Blair Walsh, hopefully you found a therapist. All right. See you guys.